Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 17 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Susan. Susan, thanks so much for the sweet email, and thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Alright, so yesterday, ready? Okay, so yesterday, Steve and Austin had a very important game chat in the backyard. They were talking about the next HOH competition, and they're saying how they're both trying to kind of encourage Vanessa to throw the next HOH competition without being like, yo, Vanessa, you should throw this. You know, they're trying to tell her, like, I think you're safe next week, and maybe you don't want to win this one because wouldn't you want to compete in the HOH right after the person returns from the jury? Somebody returns from the jury, like, wouldn't you want to win that one? So you don't want to win this next one, right? So they're trying to get her to throw it because they want her to be a shield for them, and Austin is worried that Vanessa would do something a little bit crazy, like going after him if she won the HOH. Steve does not seem as concerned, but then again, I don't think he feels like he's one of Vanessa's targets. Austin probably should be a little bit worried, I don't know. So then Austin's like, you know what, it would be pretty awesome if Julia would win this next HOH competition because Liz is definitely the bigger target of the two, so if somebody was going to be bold and put both of them up on the block, it's likely that Liz would be the one going home. So he wants to even things out a little bit, which is like kind of messed up in a way. Like if I was Julia, I'd be like, what the hell? But I don't think she's taking it that way, but I definitely would. So anyway, Steve shifts the gears of the conversation a little bit. He's trying to bring Johnny Mac into this mix too because, you know, he needs a buddy. He can't just work with the Oz twins. That's like the fourth wheel. And you may think like you need a fourth wheel, but you know what's better than a fourth wheel? A fifth wheel. Alright, so like I said, Steve is trying to bring him into the mix. Austin seems into it. So they're talking about making an alliance or some sort of group with the three of them and the two twins. It's basically the Freaks and Geeks Alliance or Scamper Squad with Johnny Mac in place of Vanessa. So they're all about it. But Steve wants to wait until Becky leaves because he knows that Becky and Johnny Mac are close. He doesn't want to risk Johnny Mac telling her and then like everybody finds out about it. So he wants to wait until Becky's evicted. We'll see. So Liz and Julia have a chat. Liz is also telling her like you need to win something because you need to like have some sort of resume, like if you were to make the final two, you know, you actually have to like type up that resume and present it to the jury. So she wants to make sure it's not going to be blank. Also, she's like, oh my god, Julia, if we're on the block, like, I'm going to be the target. Again, if I was Julia, I'd be a little bit pissed. Maybe Julia is throwing competitions to set up Liz. I don't know. That would be pretty crazy. Maybe she just sucks at competitions. I don't know. But they talk about how they both want to go to the end with Austin, but they're trying to figure out who's going to be their fourth person. So they're like, is it going to be Meg? She could be really easy to beat in the competitions. Is it going to be Johnny Mac? What are we going to do? So they don't really decide at that point. But then Austin comes up. They have some more game talk. And they discuss how they think maybe it's a good idea to keep Vanessa around until somebody comes back from the jury. Two things here. They're worried that they're going to evict Vanessa and then she's going to be the one to come back and she's going to be pissed. Also, they're worried that they're going to evict Vanessa and then like Becky or Jackie's going to come back and they're going to be a person down and the goblins will gain another. So they're a little bit worried about the numbers. They're thinking maybe we should keep Vanessa around a little while longer. Alright, so last night the house guests entertained themselves with a cooking competition, BB Chopped. So there were two teams, Liz and Austin versus Julia and James, and the two judges were Becky and Meg. So they had 3 rounds here, appetizers, entrees, and desserts. And before we get into this, I gotta say, like, poor have-nots. They were just, like, watching this competition going on, and they were just staring at the food, like... I believe the have-nots had some influence on the presentation scores, because obviously they couldn't eat the food, but they were just you know, which food makes me drool more? Which one looks more appetizing? So they had a little bit of input there. But anyway, round 1, appetizers. They had 30 minutes for this. James and Julia made a corn tortilla with diced, I think it was lemon chicken, fresh salsa, some guac, and they got an 8.5 for that round. Liz and Austin made a multi-cheese quesadilla with this Southwest ranch dressing. They only got a 6.5. So team won the first round, so I guess that's like a cat. They were really into that. Round 2, entrees. They had an hour for this, so it better be good. James and Julia, 5 cheese mac and cheese with a cornflake crust, maple bacon, and I think there were even some tomatoes on there. It's interesting. Meg was like, this is so weird, but it's so good. So she ate like the whole thing. And then Liz and Austin, oh, sorry. James and Julia got an 8 for that. And then Liz and Austin made freaking chicken cordon bleu, a vegetable medley on the side with cashews. They love putting those cashews with the veggies. And a mushroom cream sauce, which I think was from a can. But anyway, they got an 8.5, so they just edged out team in that round. Round 3, dessert. This is it. This is the deciding round. They got half an hour for this. James and Julia, crepe with caramelized bananas, chocolate-covered strawberries, and vanilla ice cream. And Liz and Austin, gluten-free French toast with Nutella, glazed bananas, and pistachios. So Liz and Austin won the 3rd round. They won the whole thing. Yay. I mean, like, they spend 3/4 of the day in the kitchen, though. So, like, are you really that surprised? I swear, they're either making out, making food, or eating food all the time when I see them on the feeds. And when they eat the food, it's like it's really weird. I don't know. They like attack the food. It's so bizarre. Both of the twins. I don't know. Alright, so during that cooking competition, Johnny Mac and Steve were talking outside for a little bit, and Johnny Mac is feeling kind of worried that they're going to be the next ones up on the block, and Steve is just like, really? Like, I feel like we're sitting pretty here. That's not the only thing that they're disagreeing about. Johnny Mac still wants Vanessa out next. He is gunning for her hardcore. And Steve is like, yeah, but don't you think she would make a really good meat shield? Like, we should keep her around because people are going to go after her before they go after us. So they're not really, like, seeing eye to eye at this point. But then they were talking about how they need to pick somebody to work with. They pretty much have 2 ways to go here. They could either work with Meg and James, or they could work with the Oz twins. So it sounds like they want to go with the Oz twins. That's 3 people, whereas Meg and James are only 2. And of course, if you look at the competition wins here, the Oz twins, mainly Liz, have a lot more to show for themselves. So last night was the 3rd night in a row that the house guests got alcohol. It still wasn't much, but whoa. And again, poor have-nots. Like, they're real. I feel bad for them this week. So then, let's talk about James and Meg. They were chatting, and they know at this point, like, Becky's going home. There's not really much they can do about it. They only have 2 votes this week, so they're not in control. But they're wondering, like, should we tell Becky that she's going home, or should we just chill? So Meg is like, no, we shouldn't tell her, at least not yet, because she's gonna start freaking out if she knows that she's going, and Meg just doesn't want to deal with that. So James is like, alright, sounds good to me. So they agree, like, yeah, we'll just let Becky think she's staying for now. We'll keep things calm. So then, Steve brings Johnny Mac up to the HOH room with the Oz twins, and they start talking about working together. I thought they were gonna wait until Becky was evicted. What is going on here? Eager beavers. So then, they're talking about how it would be ideal if Johnny Mac would win this next HOH so that he could take out Vanessa, because she knows that he's coming after her anyway. So it would just make sense, and they could keep their hands clean, of course. But they're actually talking about throwing the next HOH to Johnny Mac. They're like, yeah, we could totally make that happen. I don't know. Sounds risky. But then later on, the Oz twins are alone, and they're discussing how they don't want to be the ones to take out Vanessa. I knew Austin was going to do this. before, like a couple days ago, Austin was all like, yeah, if I win HOH, like it's gonna suck, but I'll definitely take her out because like it has to be done. You know he probably would never do that because he is a wussy. And then they were talking about, you know what, maybe it would be good for Julia to take out Vanessa after all because it's gonna get her some major street cred. Alright. So, after that little meeting, Steve went out to the backyard by himself. He was talking to himself, of course. And Steve is saying he wants Vanessa to stay next week. What is wrong with these people? He's like, yeah, we should get rid of James instead. Keep Vanessa around. Alright, so it was a super slow day today. Liz wrote her HOH blog. She got the HOH camera. They were having a lot of fun taking pictures, and then they had a pool day. It's just kind of like a boring week right now because neither Becky nor Johnny Mac are really campaigning. It's just like, it's a whatever week. So Austin and Liz made out. It seemed like there was maybe some other stuff going on that I do not want to address, but I'm just saying, like, Big Brother needs to have some sort of hand check announcement. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, maybe tonight will be more exciting. Maybe it'll be another cooking competition. Or maybe they'll do the dishes from the last cooking competition. I don't know. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments of what's going on, who you want to stay this week, and who do you think should be the target next week. Let me know. And until tomorrow, much love. Edit.